From its very beginning, artificial intelligence has sparked debate in the world of culture. Since May, Hollywood has been in a state of paralysis because of the actors and writers' strikes. One of the main concerns is about the impact of AI on their future. So is AI a menace to artists, or can it be a useful creative tool when properly regulated? It's the subject of today's Arts 24. Hello to the Assistant Director General for Culture of the UN agency UNESCO, Ernesto Otoni. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. You were also an actor in your early days. This week in Paris, UNESCO is hosting the UN's first ever global conference about the impact of AI on the world of film. Ernesto, tell us, what are the main concerns about AI when it comes to culture?
Well, in the creative industries in general, we know very well that AI has brought also new technologies, new way of storytelling. But we see that today we are confronted to a situation where if we don't have a discussion with all stakeholders so that we can see what are the framework in which we want to continue this path, we will lose of many jobs, not only actors and writers today, but technicians today. And what we want to do is continue the discussion that UNESCO launched 5 years ago and 2 years ago with our member states on the ethics of artificial intelligence. And now we are focusing in the creative industry and specifically on what has been part of the news in the last 5 months.
Because UNESCO protects cultural heritage and celebrates cultural heritage. What do you see your role as when it comes to helping regulate AI in the future?
You have to know that, yes, UNESCO in the culture sector is known for the World Heritage List or the Convention, Intangible. But since 2005, we have the 2005 Convention on Diversity of Cultural Expression. And one of the main concerns that have member states, countries around the world, is the digital environment and how the rights of practitioners, artists, culture workers can be defended so that we can ensure that diversity is protected, but at the same time, fair remuneration, copyright issues are on the table.
Well, it certainly makes the headlines a lot at the moment. Artificial intelligence has been at the heart of both the writers' and actors' strikes. In Hollywood in September, writers reached a deal safeguarding their work, but the fight continues for actors who this week approach 100 days of striking. Alison Sargent explains the concerns and what's been achieved so far.
Is that Salma Hayek?
Bingo. An actor's AI nightmare imagined by dystopian series Black Mirror. After signing away rights to her likeness, Salma Hayek finds an AI version of herself starring in an unsavory TV show.
It has your hair.
While it may not yet be a reality, it's not far from the actual concerns of the Screen Actors Guild, on strike since mid-July.
They, for example, have maintained a proposal to say that on a franchise project like Marvel Cinematic Universe, that they could take someone on the first day of the job and say, if you want to keep this job, you have to sign off on this consent. And then with that consent, we can use your digital replica forever in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. No further consent, no further compensation.
It's a particular concern for minor characters and extras. Technology has already been used to fill out crowds on shows like Apple TV's Ted Lasso.
They scan people, they have them make different facial expressions, they have them do different body positions, they jump up and down, they change their clothes digitally, they have the same person in 10 different places, and if they own your scan, if you signed away your rights to your scan, they would never have to hire an actor again.
In the quaintest corner
Artificial intelligence is also raising existential questions for directors and animators, particularly after AI mashups highlighted the technology's ability to imitate distinctive styles, like a Wes Anderson version of Lord of the Rings or Disney characters as seen through the lens of Tim Burton.
You know, you can talk about it, but when you see it happen to you, it's quite disturbing. You know, somebody to take me and my idea and style and go, okay, AI is going to create what AI thinks Tim Burton Disney characters would look like. And like I said, some of them were quite good, but very disturbing.
Fear of being replaced by technology trained to imitate them was one of the key concerns of Hollywood writers, who first went on strike in May. The Writers Guild reached a historic deal at the end of September, hailed as a victory and possible precedent for AI regulation. Under the agreement, AI cannot be considered a credited writer, studios can't require writers to use AI, and if they give writers AI-generated material, it must be disclosed, and the writer still gets all credit and compensation. Meanwhile, the writers themselves can still use AI in their work, an acknowledgement that the technology can be a powerful tool to enhance human creativity, as long as it's not allowed to supplant it.
I was like, and then I commend you guys. Are you just dying?
So lots of information there, Ernesto. You, in a previous life, were an actor. What could be some of the solutions to their concerns, do you think?
Well, you know, everybody's afraid of speaking of regulations. Today, at UNESCO, we are not there yet. What we want to have is a full disclosure of all the advantages, but also what could be the gaps where we have to fill in. You have to know that in the creative industries in general, not only in the US or in Europe, 80% of the workers are informal. So now we are talking about the 20% of those artists who have contracts. What we are defending is not only for those who today can ensure some livelihoods of it, but for the whole ecosystem of the creative industries, and specifically on audiovisual. We had this experience last year with Netflix. One of the priorities of UNESCO is Africa. And we did this storytelling of folk tales. It was a huge project that we launched in South Africa. One of the issues was, well, these new directors could use artificial intelligence for the film. And we had a big discussion. And finally, 3 of the 6 finalists use it for very specific issues. But the condition was that they will be remunerated, recognized as creators of those images.
Do you think a time will come, though, when we will need to have laws governing AI?
Yes, to be very clear, yes, we believe that it's the way that policymaking is done. And in the creative sectors, after what we lived and we saw after COVID, today we need to have more structures and more balanced approach on those professions, and regulation is one. You can have other policy making, but regulation should be one, and it has been in discussion in Europe for many years, not for artificial intelligence, but with new technologies. And today the discussion is open. What we want is, as I mentioned, to put all people that are concerned together so that we can arrive bottom up to a solution.
Well, the debate, as we know, goes much wider than the film world. We've had guests on the show talking about photographs created by AI, and the world's very first AI-generated art gallery opened earlier this year in Amsterdam. Kathy Clifford takes us for a visit.
At first glance, this Amsterdam art gallery looks similar to many others. However, these works are not created by a regular artist. They were made by Ariza Nova. Created to create, she's presented as the world's first AI artist. Despite a few perceived flaws, the gallery owner describes a new generation.
The artificial intelligence genie has finally come out of the bottle. Nothing will stop it now.
On the gallery's website, it introduces 11 AI artists, each with their own biography, giving details of education, career, and family life. To find out the price of an artwork, you can ask the artist directly.
De geschatte vraagprijs voor de curator zou kunnen variëren tussen €3.000 en €10.000.
Could AI eventually replace human artists? This appraiser is not convinced.
I like to look at it. It's decorative. Someone will certainly be willing to pay some money for it, I would imagine. But I have different requirements for art.
What is art without a soul? And can you tell the difference? This emerging genre stirs up as many questions as it does artworks.
I'm here in the studio with UNESCO's Assistant Director General for Culture, Ernesto Tony. Now, what do you think? Does art need to have a soul, in your opinion?
Yes. And the answer is yes. All creative process starts from our humanity and the way that we want to tell a story. And in all arts expressions, the human touch will never be replaced. That's something that I can assure. Even in the reportage that you showed, you see the influences of each artwork that was presented. You see Tim Burton behind many of those pictures. Somehow, who will defend those artists who were the inspirational start of these algorithms that are creating? On copyright, UNESCO was the first organization in the world that defended and has a convention on copyright. And today we believe that when we are confronted that all the live expression are trying to disappear and the virtual space will be the way to have livelihoods for artists, we should go in a direction that allows them to have fair remuneration, copyright laws, and also some framework where to work and to be sure that their rights, cultural rights, are respected.
Okay. Ernesto, thank you so much for joining us on the show. Well, on screen, Man vs. Machines is not a new theme for filmmakers. Remember Ex Machina and 2001, A Space Odyssey from 1968. The latest comes from director and co-writer Gareth Edwards. It's called The Creator. Set 40 years from now, The Creator is set amid a future war between the human race and the forces of AI. We'll leave you with that. Thanks for watching. See you next time.